Okay, and so the economic downturn SOPs, and I put this together about 10 years ago because I was thinking about it because we were going through, this is 2009 and 2010, and I was thinking, people are in a panic right now, and wouldn't it be nice if I could get people to give advice on what they've just been through, and so that they could have an SOP for the next time they go through it, so they don't go through the same kind of thing. So I had I don't know, like 900 respondents from around the world. It was pretty interesting. And rule number one was don't panic. I did a webinar the other night with one of my favorite people, Dave Roberts, who's the former SVP of Revenue at Marriott, and he said, okay, if you need to panic, go in the corner, get your panic over, calm yourself down, and then come back and don't be panicked anymore. But because if you panic, you're not going to be thinking in a rational manner. And so, I mean, it's perfectly human to feel this sense of panic. But as a manager and as a leader, you've got to kind of calm yourself down and think rationally, because the plans that you come up with, if you're in a panic mode, are most probably not going to be good ones. And so just kind of try to keep yourself on an even keel, because if you panic, the people around you are going to start to feel panic as well. And as a leader, you don't want to be conveying that. Have a plan.
Right. And I think just to add to that, we were looking at the STAR data from the two recessions, from 9/11 and 2008 market crash. And I think what the recommendation was that the hotels that actually overreacted to the market change, and in the form of dropping rates or be it, right, they actually took much longer to recover and get back to the level of ADR that they had before. So just, panicking does not help, right?
No, and you don't want to be, I mean, I got this piece of advice from somebody, a revenue management leader, very successful, is that you don't want to be the first mover to go down, but you might want to be the first mover when things start to come back up.
Right.
And beware of unqualified discounting. Okay, if you say everybody gets 35% off to come to my hotel, how easy is that to replicate? I mean, it's super easy. The other part of this is that there's been a lot of research that's been done on hotel positioning with pricing. And so a couple of my colleagues at Cornell, so Linda Canina and Kathy Enns, have done this, where they looked at a bunch of STAR data, and basically hotels where their ADR was below that of their competitive set, they didn't make it up in occupancy. Their RevPAR was significantly lower. And so there's nothing, and you are going to have to offer some discounts. I mean, definitely you are, but not across the board. You want to carefully fence those. And so you want to be very much protecting your public rate. So the one that everybody sees. What do I mean by a qualified discount? Perhaps somebody who's a member of your loyalty club, or perhaps someone who takes a minimum length of stay, or there's some sort of package, or it's a special market segment, but you want to very, very carefully fence them. This is a time to be really particularly analytical with how you go about doing this, because if you just drop your rates, you're not going to really get that many more customers. You're going to just get the wrong ones. And the next time somebody offers a cheaper price than you, they're just going to go there. So you don't want to be doing that. You want to make sure that you protect your brand image, and also that you take care of your customers. And we'll get more to that in a moment. And Anish, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, and actually on that point, keeping in mind the prospect of rebound and how hotels can actually prepare to engage once things get better. This is a great example of one of our customers, the MacArthur Place, based out of Sonoma here in California. So, like to the point that you mentioned about being, fencing your campaigns and not discounting to everyone, this is a great example. So this campaign is segmented by geolocation, so it qualifies anybody who is within, driving distance of the property. A great offer that not only talks to rooms, but also ancillary revenue for, say, a spa or maybe a food and beverage outlet that you can have on property. And again, great engagement here. So not really talking about revenue, but just a way to engage your guests to, prepare for the rebound that will happen soon.
Yeah, I also like the fully refundable pricing on here, just to give people some assurances that they can go ahead and feel comfortable booking, that, things change and that's okay, but you get these guest booking, and that's the point.
Exactly. And then another example from one of our customers, which is the Park Hotel Group. This is a cross-promotional campaign that was sent out to to multiple properties within the group that qualified, again, with location as a filter option. So anybody who qualifies within the location defined here, cross-promoting to multiple properties with different locations across their portfolio, targeting family travelers, and like Karen mentioned, flexible cancellation, making sure that the guests are at ease and they are free of risk here.
And I think this one, staycation, I'm in Singapore and this is my 13th year, 5 months a year here. And I don't think I'd ever really even heard the term staycation until I started coming here. But it's big right now. And especially in a time like this, the schools are out. After a few weeks, the family's going to, I'll say the parents are probably going to want to, get out a little bit and have something for the kids to do. And this is a perfect opportunity. They might not want to travel across the country, but they might be perfectly happy, especially with some like it's going to make it flexible. We're going to be safe. It's going to have a lot of fun for my kids. This is a great sort of promotion. And again, this is a time when you've got to be kind of creative. And I think the other thing is be thinking about what's going through your guest's mind about how they're afraid and what can you do to help them kind of get through that. And rule number 3. This is not the time to cut your marketing budget. And when we talk about that, there's kind of 2 parts to your marketing budget. One might be kind of brand awareness, and the other is a call to action. Cutting back on brand awareness right now, that's probably okay. But call to action, you don't want to be cutting back on that at all. And so, yes, you are going to have to be making some cuts because, you're not having as much revenue coming in and you've got to be able to pay your bills and everything else. But, you want to be sure that cutting your marketing budget, particularly your call to action, is not the thing that you want to be doing.
That's right. And again, to that point, you want to make sure that you have the tools to react to the market changes as they're happening. So great example here by, again, Park Hotel Group, which is a customer. This is a campaign that was sent out to anyone who was within driving distance and qualified as a local corporate. So again, talks about, bento options that can be ordered in for catering events, which could be a corporate meeting, could be a social event as well. But a great idea here to really think out of the box of how you can drive not just room, but like how about focusing on ancillary revenue for the property.
And were you making a joke there with out of the box?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, that was good. Okay. All right. And then you're kind of moving along, back to, again, with marketing, you're focusing in on your marketing initiatives. What can you do to get people in, whether it's, kind of what we just kind of saw with kind of partnerships? Is it going to be a special event? Is it going to be something that's going to make someone want to come to your hotel? The other part with this too is that this is a great time for, which is not so much a marketing initiative, but helping the community get through this, which is helps people remember you and also helps position your property as a good citizen. And because now is the most important time for marketing and also for revenue management.
Exactly. And I think, again, having tools to communicate and engage with the audience, just making sure that they know about your brand and you're top of mind. Again, great example here by one of our customers, the Blake's London, which, they've relaxed their cancellation. They're actually calling it like no strings attached, so making it very flexible. There's no expiration to this offer. So again, making it very easy for the guests to book when they plan to visit London.
And I think this is a great one because it's understanding, what the guest is going through. And, you think about it, there have been a number of people, they had to cancel their trip. They really wanted to go, but right now they can't. They just don't feel comfortable doing it. They don't want to put themselves in danger or their family in danger. And so, but they would probably like to come again. And so just make sure that you make it easy for them. Don't put up any obstacles right now because they don't need, if they have obstacles, they might just decide not to. And quite frankly, right now you need the business. And so this is not the time to be strict with all of these different sorts of restrictions. And rule number 5, consider rate obscuring practices. This goes back to protecting your public rate, the rate that everybody can see. And so, this might be things where, with packages, kind of creative packages. So maybe, not just 2 for 1, but you get F&B credit, you get spa credit. We have credits at local restaurants. You want late checkout, no problem. I mean, lots of things that you may be used to charge for, but now you're putting them all together. And, we do this all the time. You see this all the time with your kind of vacation packages. But one of the nice things in hotels that we have available to us that other industries like airline really don't is that we have a lot of other things at the hotel, whether, full service hotel at least, where we've got the spa, we've got the F&B, and we've got different sorts of things that we could add in that help us kind of protect that public rate. And it's also, when you do this, you make sure that when you're putting together these packages and things, is that you're putting in things that actually matter to your guest. Because if you're throwing in a bunch of things that nobody really cares about, I mean, the basic reaction to that is like, well, gee, so what? And so that's not the sort of thing that you want to be doing with that.
That's right. And again, I think you spoke about this, but making sure that you are discounting, but to maybe a loyal segment, which could be defined by a number of stays or how much they've spent historically on the property. So again, a great example here by Park Hotel Alexandra, where they're doing some sort of a bundle offer here, which again is qualified discounting, and they have different options for local guests versus somebody who wants to visit the city.
And I think this is a great one too. And I like too how you're kind of looking at the loyal or the engaged guests, which that kind of ties into rule number 6, which is focusing on your service and maintaining your service levels. If you have a loyalty program, now's the time to be leveraging that. I mean, let's say that it takes 30,000 points to get a free night. Maybe now it takes 20,000. You want to be sure that you're not cutting back on guest-facing services. And let me just give you an example. About, I guess it's close to, it would be 19 years ago, one of my former neighbors and good friends, she got married at a luxury hotel in Southern California. And it was about a week or two after 9/11. So we went to the hotel, and it was a really nice hotel. I won't give any names or anything. And I don't know how much we were paying, but the restaurants were closed. There were no flowers. There was no turn down service. And it was like, ew. I mean, isn't this supposed to be a such and such sort of hotel? You want to take care of the people who are there. I mean, these are your loyal guests. These are your regular guests. You want to take care of them as well as you possibly can so that they come back, because you're probably not going to get new customers right now. But so it's super important to be keeping the customers you have right now and to be treating them, as a treasure right now that they actually are, because your hope is that they're going to come back to you again in the future. And Anisha, anything to add on to with that?
No, I think, like you said, you want to maintain your service levels and make sure that the loyal guests are addressed, right? So that's a great point.
Yeah, and then just to kind of reiterate here is rule number 1 is don't panic. Again, if you need to panic, just go in the corner, get it over with, and come back and calm down. And a lot of things you can do to not panic is to kind of have a list of things that you're going to do, so that if you feel like you're going to panic, have a list. Okay, here are the things that I should do. Here are things that I shouldn't do. Actually, and focus in on the ones that you should do, just to kind of give yourself kind of a routine so that you just calm yourself down. You want to beware of unqualified discounting. Don't just give discounts across the board. It's not going to bring more people, and be very careful with the way you do this, which actually kind of ties into the rule below it about the rate obscuring practices. Marketing, so you're maintaining your marketing efforts and focusing in on your marketing initiatives. You want to be working on call to action right now. And again, now is not the time to be cutting back on marketing. I just mentioned the rate obscuring and maintaining your service levels. You want to make sure that you're taking good care of your guests. If you have a loyalty program, this is the time to be using it. If you have information, if you have a database on your customers, now is the time to be using that to perhaps be able to customize the offers that you're providing to them so that it even better meets their needs. But the most important thing is Don't panic. It will be fine. We will get through this. I mean, of course, the question is when, but I mean, panic is not going to help. And so just keep yourself calm, approach this in a sensible fashion and think strategically, because the bounce back will happen.